So Chinese, international students, and then we have South Koreans, Vietnamese. The pre-pandemic, roughly around 642,000 international students came to Canada. So this is a huge economic opportunity.
Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nasir for Scope360. Today I have a very prominent individual in our studio who is a lawyer who has graduated from University of Toronto, who has also had education from Mughal University. He's been an advisory role for the International Civil Aviation Organization as well. And he's done a lot of philanthropic work as well too, a lot of pro bono work. So in our studio, I'd like to introduce Mr. Armaan Khan. Welcome, Armaan, to our studio.
Thank you, Nasir, for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Hello, assalamu alaikum, bonjour, annyeonghaseyo, namaskar.
Excellent. So as you could tell, Armaan greeted our audience in about 4 or 5 different languages. So what languages do you speak, sir, first of all?
Well, obviously English to begin with, then Hindi, Urdu, Punjabi, and a little bit of French, but Korean is also my mother tongue. I was born in South Korea.
Okay, so let's talk about your Korean background here, because that's a little bit interesting. You don't find too many people that speak Korean and speak Hindi as well too. So how did you, come
I was born in South Korea. My mother is Korean, so I do have maternal roots in South Korea. And did my undergrad as well over there. And from my paternal side, father's side, we do share some Indian Pakistani background as well. So
excellent.
That's where the languages come in.
Okay. So before we get into the meat of what we're here for today, so let's talk about your personality, where you grew up, your family, a little bit like. So when our audience who are watching this, when they want to pick up the phone, when they need any lawyer services that we're going to get into more conversation with, they feel comfortable in dealing with you. So
sure. So I was born in South Korea. Obviously, I grew up, in different parts of the world, primarily in Lahore, Pakistan as well. I did my matriculation, and thereafter I left for South Korea, did my undergrad, and then my law school was primarily in North America. I went to Mughal University, and then UFT as well. So I say my ethos, which is a Latin word for credibility, ethos, pathos, and logos. My ethos, credibility, comes from the hardworking ethics of South Koreans and Far East Japanese culture. My pathos, which is a Latin word for emotions. My heart is very much Indian Pakistani. We get emotional. We have that one-to-one connection, right? And whereas my logos, logic, was primarily in North American legal training. Because remember, at law school, they rewire your brain, your objective and subjective training, your fact-finding. So I say, I'm one of a kind. I have a very unique ethos, pathos, and logos.
Excellent, excellent. And what about family-wise? You're married?
I'm married. I have 2 children, a daughter and a son. And my wife, she grew up in Middle East culture, and she was, she came to Canada at a very young age as well. Though my family, I tease them, I call them mini United Nations.
Right,
my
excellent.
children were born here. So it's a unique mix, which represents true Canada.
Absolutely.
Because we believe every third person was born outside of Canada. It's a true melting pot, and we are so fortunate to be in this country.
Exactly,
we can
exactly.
call home.
Now, and the reason I want to ask you these questions is because whenever a person wants to pick up the phone and contact a lawyer, he or she gets very nervous, anxious, because for whatever circumstances that they have. And one of the most important things is to make sure you're dealing with a law firm that could cater to that individual's need, to make them feel comfortable, to make them feel that, hey, we're here for you. And obviously, your firm provides so many different services. So today we're going to focus on one particular, because we don't have the time to go through all the services we provide. So one of the things that we're going to talk about today on the show is about immigration.
Wonderful.
Right? So why don't you talk about, let our audience know, because you're the expert, what is immigration, what are different types of immigrations, and what are some of the steps that a person needs to go with immigration?
Well, wonderful. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. As you know, we practice at our small boutique firm. We practice family law. We practice wills and estate. But my main bread and butter is immigration law.
Okay.
Right? And within immigration law, there are different ways we can, bring new immigrants to Canada. Right? There's express entry through point-based system. There's study permit. There's work permit. There's provincial nominee programs. There's business immigration. Right? So, we try our best to focus on each individual's best needs, right? It's not like one size fits all approach.
Right.
So हमारे लिए exactly pinpoint करना कि एक ही option में हम सबको invite कर लें Canada में, it's not feasible.
Exactly.
Because mind you, Canada's new immigration regulations, which were brought last year, we want almost 1.2 million immigrants in next 3 years.
Okay.
So that means roughly around 400,000 people in every next 3 years down the road, right? But then pandemic, kind of COVID-19, उसकी वजह से कुछ थोड़े से roadblocks आ गए. There's huge immigration backlog.
Okay.
And people were working from home. Then we had Afghan refugee crisis. Then now with Ukrainian war, we have refugee crisis as well. So that didn't really help the backlog, right?
Okay.
So अभी हर कोई कनाडा में आना चाह रहा है. लेकिन again, it's not very easy to get everything done in a timely way. That's where our expertise come in.
Absolutely.
We help them, we guide them, we advise them step by step.
Okay. तो ये मुझे बताएं अरमान भाई कि ये जो there's so many different ways to come into Canada, and I'm not the expert, obviously you're the expert. There's A's, there's student permit, visa, and all that kind of stuff. So do you want to quickly just tell us about what are some of the ways that people come in, what type of, I guess, the demographics, the age group you're finding right now, what are the things that you're doing? So if you can tell that to our audience as well.
So let's talk about a study permit, right?
Okay.
Study visa, for instance. You'll be surprised to know that Canada is, third most sought of country in the world after US and Australia.
Oh, Australia.
In terms of, seeking foreign education, right? So Chinese, Indian national students, and then we have South Koreans, Vietnamese. The pre-pandemic, roughly around 642,000 international students came to Canada. So this is a huge economic opportunity for Canada as well to make money, because international students, mind you, they are paying 3 or 4 times the tuitions, right?
Right.
So Pakistan and India, luckily, are one of the student direct stream, nominees, and with that, their whole international student stream can be expedited. So briefly, होता क्या है कि उनकी requirement के लिए, once they have the academic IELTS, they can produce GICs, guaranteed income certificates of 10,000, obviously get the admission letter, offer of acceptance, and they can come to Canada through student visa. Student visa. And once they obtain their visa, they have to make sure that the college they apply is DLI, Designated Learning Institute, because that can help them prolong their stay. Right? Because they don't want to come into a school which is not on the DLI list. Uske baad they'll be bound for disappointment, right? So you want to make sure that's where the lawyers, experts, consultants, paralegals come in, because they want to make sure that institution is DLI. And obviously after DLI, it helps them to get PGWP.
And what is that?
That's postgraduate work permit.
Postgraduate work permit,
okay. Because after their course finishes, ज़ाहिर उन्होंने इधर रहना है, उन्होंने उधर कमाना है, अपने loans pay off करने हैं, right? So, again, ये सारी चीजें obviously don't take it as a legal advice.
Yeah.
This is general information.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
disclaimer
absolutely, absolutely.
before, right? So always talk to your lawyer, talk to the experts first before you make a move.
Okay.